It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer, and I've got a battle for you Stout fans today. In the one corner, a package that was sent to me by Aldi. It's the Mulligan Stout at 4.1% ABV. I'll show you the package that Aldi UK sent to me in a moment. But the other beer that I want to put it up against is a beer from another sort of kind of discount supermarket, if you like. Discount store would be the better word. And that's Home Bargains, and this is their Dorothy Black. This is an Irish Stout Nitro, also at 4.1% ABV. And you can kind of see the similarities, can't you? Both black cans, both 440 milliliter, both 4.1% ABV. Of course, we didn't arrive here at 4.1% ABV in a 440 milliliter can by accident. What's happening here is that there's certain players trying to capture the Guinness market. The Guinness market is so big. It's got almost its own branding, and Guinness has got, it's almost its own animal. In fact, it is its own animal. It can basically do what it wants. Until last Christmas, when they sort of went fear of missing out, FOMO, Guinness came out with, we can't make enough Guinness for Christmas. And everybody in the beer market just went, oh, another marketing play. Excellent, by the way, excellent, because of course they could have made enough Guinness. The story goes that they were making, at the time, they were trying to produce a lot of 0% Guinness for all the dry January lovers out there, and they couldn't produce another. That's the rumour, anyway. So what happens when companies do that? Well, it opens the door for other players, doesn't it? Quickly out of the gate was Heineken. Heineken brought out the fabulous Murphy's. The Murphy Stout was re-released in the supermarkets by April, May this year. They were very quick to it. And now kind of Aldi were like, no, well, we're going to do our own thing too. And Home Bargains were like, we're going to do our own thing too. So here they are. So the parcel sent by Aldi, I'll be very quick with this. It was very nicely packaged. I have opened it. There's a nice story there. If you want to pause the video and read that, that's up to you. We have another can of Mulligan Stout. I opened it because I wanted to put the cold one in the fridge. This is nice and cold. So there's a can of Mulligan's. We have a t-shirt, Mulligan's t-shirt, which my wife will probably use as a nightie. A hat, which I quite like. I quite like the hat. And a glass, a Mulligan's glass, which we're going to use. So let's get that out the way. I want to thank Aldi for sending that parcel. It was very nice of them to do that. But also, this is going to be an impartial review. Let's see which is the best beer, Home Bargains or Aldi's Stout. Woo! Look at that. As with these nitro stouts, they like to be poured quite hard, quite heavily. For that, of course, for that famous Guinness look. That's what a nitro stout will do. It's a jet black beer in the glass, and it has that lovely, lovely sort of velvety, crazy head going on. So the Mulligan's does that. The Mulligan's you can buy, is in a 4-can box. for £5, so they're £1.25 a can. Dorothy Black. Whoa, it's doing the same thing, look. Home Bargains. This beer is actually brewed in Ireland. Ho, 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 ho. Look at that. I mean, there's no point in showing you the Mulligans now because it's finished doing its job. But I can show you what... That's what it looks like when it settles down. So the Dorothy Black is also doing the sort of, let's call it the Guinness magic, shall we? Let's call it the Guinness magic. But it will eventually settle down into having a creamy, sort of roasty looking head too. Letting the two beers settle down. Let's see where they're both produced. Product of Ireland, brewed and packaged in Ireland by Dundalk Bay Brewery and Distillery. That's the Dorothy Black from Home Bargains. And Aldi, they're quite clever, Aldi. They put produced for Aldi Stores Limited. So they're quite clever with it. They won't give away who brews it. They will say that it goes really well with grilled meats, dishes such as meat, stews and chilli, which is quite helpful if you're hungry. But the Home Bargains ones, I'm going to give it a bit of kudos here because they've actually said, hey, it's brewed in Ireland by Dundalk Bay Brewery. So there's the Mulligans. There's the Dorothy Black. They've more or less finished doing their thing. The two beers in the glass. Rocking them back and forth. I like the Dorothy Black in terms of the look because it looks slightly, the head is slightly more kind of, has a chocolatey look to it. It's a little bit darker, the head, and there's a little bit more of a head there. Rocking the beers back and forth, they're more or less doing exactly the same thing. They're doing that very tight head thing that these sorts of beers do. Let's get the aroma of the Dorothy Black. It smells like creme brulee. The aroma is of creme brulee and a creaminess, a rich sort of chocolatey caramel Mars bar sort of aroma. Mulligans from Aldi. It's doing a very similar thing. It's doing a very similar thing. Creme brulee, chocolate, caramel, sort of chocolate candy bar. This could be interesting. Because you never know, do you? This Dundalk, I think it was Dundalk, wasn't it? They may have built a purpose-built brewery to just produce draft stouts for supermarkets. That would be a great business plan, wouldn't it? To be able to do that and produce that for other supermarkets, and of course change the names on the beer a little bit. Call one Mulligans, call one Dorothy Black. I'm not saying for one moment I've already worked out or made up my mind that the two beers are from the same brewery, but it wouldn't surprise me either. Let's try the Dorothy Black. It's a beautiful beer. It really is. It's rich. It's fruity. It's roasted. There's some nice bitterness on the back end. It's got a lovely mouthfeel. creamy, rich mouthfeel. Ooh, it's lovely. Ooh, yeah, it's lovely. It's really good. Mulligan Stout from Aldi. Very, I mean, like, that's so similar. That's so, I mean, the aroma was similar. The taste is extremely similar to the point where I really don't know the difference. Best thing to do is do 2 quick fire tastes. I mean, there's no harm if this is what's happened. If this is what's happened, there's no harm. This is a company, or these are 2 companies, Home Bargains and Aldi, who know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They seen the people who are probably on the back foot here are not Aldi or Home Bargains, it's Guinness, because they went down that road of, oh, you can't get Guinness at Christmas anymore, because people will shop around, and these companies have had 9 months. They've had 9 months to work out their stout strategy for the year, and Aldi and Home Bargains have probably come up with the same thing. Hey, let's produce something slightly better than Guinness, sell it for cheaper, and see how we get on. Have it contract brewed by a company that can produce stout on a large scale. The only difference is that the Home Bargains beer has a slightly more, it's slightly darker in the head, but other than that, they look the same. Quick fire taste. Home Bargains. Aldi. Yeah, I challenge anybody. I challenge anybody out there to tell me that this isn't from the same brewery. It tastes exactly the same. So really, it's a dead heat, isn't it? I can't give a higher rating for one beer over the other because it's probably the same beer. What I will say is that this all now boils down to availability. I had a little bit of trouble getting the Dorothy Black. It took me a while, but now it's fed into our Barry stores, so it'd be interesting to see if it's still quite easy to get hold of the Dorothy Black. But the Aldi Mulligan Stout is now available in every Aldi in the UK. So I managed to pick it up in July for some reason, a couple of months ago. Perhaps they were trialling it in the Cardiff store. Perhaps that's what they were doing. So my rating then is, for the 2 beers, because I believe they're the same from the same brewery, is, I'm going to say they're excellent stouts. They really are. 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.